5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today to discuss our national lands and monuments and explore both our accomplishments and some of our future opportunities. As you know, the Antiquities Act was passed 110 years ago. 10 years later, in 1916, the National Park System was created. And since then, there have been 151 national monuments created, 84 of them by Republican presidents, the majority of those by Republican presidents, showing that this act and its impact is truly bipartisan and American in every sense. I'd also like to call your attention to the accomplishments of our current president, Barack Obama, whom historian Douglas Brinkley calls a Theodore Roosevelt for the 21st century, owing to his commitment to preserving our national heritage, protecting our public places, and ensuring that whether it's of importance because of its value for wilderness, cultural, or historical impact, that we're ensuring all Americans have a chance to enjoy and appreciate our heritage. And I also rise today, Mr. Speaker, to suggest a way that the President can continue this legacy and set the stage for the next 100 years. Castner Range, pictured behind me in El Paso, Texas, is 7,000 acres in the heart of the Chihuahuan Desert, rising into Rocky Mountain peaks that start at the southern end of that national mountain chain, with rare plant and animal species that distinguish it as a place worthy of preservation. Ending in 1966, Castner Range was used as a bombing range, but in the 50 years since then, it has been preserved in its natural state. This is an incredible opportunity to ensure that we pass on Castner Range and all that it means to us as a country to not just this generation, but the generations that follow. Castner Range, beyond the rare plant and animal species, has 10,000 years of recorded human history. There are petroglyphs dating back 8,000 years ago, literally showing the impressions that this land made on the first Americans who were neither U.S. citizens or Mexican citizens or really had any citizenship at all. And that is particularly poignant given the fact that Castner Range is part of the world's largest binational community. El Paso, with its sister city of Ciudad Juarez in southern New Mexico, joined 3 million people of two countries, two cultures, two traditions, two languages, who become one at this point. Furthermore, El Paso, Texas is 85% Mexican American and happens to be one of the poorest communities in our country. This is a chance for this president to open up public lands to ensure that we have access and participation by everyone in this country, and to ensure that our national monuments visitors reflect the communities and the growing, changing demographics in this country. I also think that it's important to know that this community is unified in ensuring that we protect, preserve, and pass on Castner Range to future generations. 27,000 El Pasoans have signed letters to the president. Despite its relative poverty, $1.5 million have been raised by individual donors to complement whatever federal investment is necessary. And the largest school district has made a commitment to ensure that every fourth grader has access to Castner Range should it be preserved, that it's part of their curriculum, and that they have traveled to Castner Range to explore and appreciate its wonder. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, here are some larger themes that a preservation of Castner Range could tie into. It is a Cold War relic. It is also a former artillery site. And following the president's recent travel to Laos, which saw more armaments rain down on it than any other part of the world, we have a chance to develop the model of how to turn former conflict sites into places of public use, into examples of peace, into standards for preservation. That could happen here in the United States, where we can set the world standard, and it could happen here at Castner Range. There are a few national monument ideas that I think make a lot of sense. There's the expansion of the Grand Canyon, there's Bears Ears, there's Gold Butte, and then there's Castner Range. I think the president's attention to these areas, the ability to offer access to more Americans, to ensure everyone has a chance to access our national parks and national monuments, and to set the standard for preservation and the future of American cities is too good of an opportunity for this president to pass up. And with that, Mr. Speaker, I yield back.